welcome back. This is episode 2 of the Level 1 walkthrough, and my name is Tony.
And my name is Emad.
Emad. Hey, you know what? Before I even say anything, this is weird.
Yeah.
I've always said Emad.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Emad? Have I been saying your name wrong?
You've been saying it wrong for like 15 years.
Why didn't you tell me?
It's not that big of a deal. I don't give a It's
you should tell me, because I noticed that when we talked the first time, when we did the recording the first time.
Plus, I noticed it too.
Yeah. Okay. So 15 years, you couldn't tell me this.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal.
Okay. All right.
You know,
I'm keeping that in because that's perfect. That's a perfect intro.
All
right. So now that we've kind of gone through our little training wheels of our first episode, we kind of found a little bit more of a groove on what we want to start talking about. So, I kept thinking about what we talked about, and I had such a smile on my face. What was your feeling like when you first heard yourself? Because I know you only heard your portion, but what did you think?
I had a frown on my face.
Okay.
You know what I was thinking though? It's like, I don't know if you feel this way as well. Like when you hear yourself through a playback, you're like, wow, do you really sound like that?
Yeah.
Like that's what I was thinking about. But no, I think we had a good conversation. We talked about so many.
Yeah.
So let's just keep going.
Yeah. All right. So the way that we want to start this off is kind of what it is that we're playing right now. So the game that I'm playing right now that I kind of didn't really want to buy at first because I'm not real big on like looter shooters. I guess that's the type of genre. Is Borderlands 3. So that's the game that I'm playing right now. I'm about maybe 60 hours in. So I'm at the point of the very, very last mission when they say, hey, make sure you do everything before you take on this last mission. So I'm pretty sure I'm at the very end. But how about yourself?
Like 60 hours in. Are you enjoying it, or have you been enjoying it?
It's a little frustrating because I've played Borderlands 1 and 2. So I know what it is that I'm getting myself into. I just feel like the first one was such a great like lightning in a bottle concept because the characters were really funny, they were witty. There was a lot of like humor to them where they kind of like did a lot of like self reflection on themselves and like pointed the joke at themselves a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that. I think the one thing that really stands out for me is, I think it was Borderlands 2, is there was one gun that I picked up and it was so fun because when I started firing, the gun actually talked back to me and told me that I couldn't shoot. It was funny. It had like a little personality, and like when I try to reload, the gun would say, "Oh, you need to reload now. You're terrible at this. I'm not reloading the gun now for you." And it was really funny. Like I remember that moment, and then like what was it? What's that girl's name? Tina, Crazy Tina or something like that. That little girl. I think
I don't remember,
she's.
but I played a lot of Borderlands 2, and I don't remember like.
I think she was in the first one. She's her brother actually did a lot of the level designing for the first Borderlands. So I'm pretty sure she's the one that's like the young girl that's like kind of crazy and she's like got like bombs and stuff like that. But I remember the only reason why I really remember her is 'cause she's the one that does the voice for Zero Dawn. Remember that game?
Mm-hmm.
She's the voice actor
Oh, nice.
of the main character. So the reason why I know her is because I used to watch for the longest time. My website that I would go to all the time, every single day, that was on my homepage was GameTrailers.com. That was everything. Like that was where I got all my news source. They had podcasts. They had a lot of cool, like the people that they had on there. I really liked, like the guy Brandon Jones, the one that created the actual website itself.
Mm-hmm.
He is the one that he's the one that does the voice for the reviews. So he's the voice of Game Trailers for like reviews and previews and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And they had a little segment called "Hey Ash, what are you playing?" And that girl and her brother, the brother that it was a part of Borderlands One. I don't know if he's a part of two or three, but he got her to play as a voice. So I think that kind of catapulted her into like doing more voice acting because she got a starring role in the main character in that game, Zero Dawn.
Mhm. That's pretty.
So yeah, yeah, because I mean, I remember that, and she's funny. A lot of dry humor, so it was perfect. Like
Mhm.
their humor was actually very, very similar. So I think going back to it, the game is a little frustrating because they rely so heavily on the humor that it just comes off as it comes off very real pretentious, and I don't know why that is. It's because there's no gravity of weight to the game where if your character dies, there's no like obviously I get the whole idea, the concept that you're having fun. I get all that, but the characters I don't care about. Like my main character that
Mhm.
I picked, this guy named his name's Flax or Flack. He's kind of like a robot human kind of. I think he's more of a, like I think he's a machine and a person, but he has this little animal with him that's like your companion that will always go out and hit the end, go after enemies, and he's like your friend. And he's got more of a personality that I really like because he actually like interacts with what's going on. Like when you're shooting enemies down, he talks about he's like, I have no blood for me, that's why I'm using yours. Or he likes the violence, and his character is really funny, and he's all about what he's doing. And your main character kind of has like been put on the side, and it relies heavily on these other new characters, and they're all just one quick whip after another, these quick whips all the time, and it's just
So
after,
too
af-
silly. Like you're finding it too silly. Are
but
there
it's
any
not
serious
it's not
moments?
it's not that it's too silly. It's just the humor is just, it's so much that every character is kind of like, if you're watching like a Marvel movie or like the Avengers movie. It's like, okay, let me instead of saying that, it's kind of like if everybody was Tony Stark, but not cocky, but just real quick whips, and just very, the dialogue is real quick.
Mhm.
Think of every character as that. And it's like
Mhm.
over time you would think they would change a little, but it's not. The tempo of their humor stays the same, whereas the gravity of what you're doing is kind of, you're doing the same things. You're looting for, you're getting weapons, you're trying to find these keys to get into a vault. Like you're actually developing this vault key, so you're basically like, basically your character's a vault hunter. That's, I mean, that hasn't changed since the first series of the games. But I don't know, there's something about it that it's not really, I'm kind of like not listening to when they're talking because it's too much. But the combat and the gameplay and the all the other elements that are keeping me in the game are the reason why I'm sticking with it. The story has kind of taken a back seat in my eyes.
Maybe that's what they really counted on. Just the gameplay being so fun that they don't really take themselves too seriously. So
Yeah,
you maybe seeing it as like you said, it's pretentious.
That's kind of what I'm getting, and I don't know. Like I don't need every game to be serious and like realistic to where they're like human beings when they're grounded in reality. I mean the game doesn't do all that. I mean doesn't need to be that, and I can get that, but I want a character that's kind of like my character. I want like, okay, I'll give you an example. Like I'm like I would say like maybe 60 hours in,
Mhm.
and my main character, every time that there's a cutscene, my main character turns into the camera for that cutscene.
Mhm.
My character disappears from the conversations that are happening with these other characters. There's only one time since I've been playing this, one time that my main character that I play as has gotten addressed by somebody else.
I remember you
So
mentioned that.
Yeah, and it's only one time. And even though you're doing everything, they're saying, "Oh, I need you to do this, you do that." Oh, the one of the characters calls me killer. So it's like you're doing all these things, but I never say anything. Like when things happen, why doesn't my character interact and like take the enemy down? Why don't I interact? I basically just become a camera for the cutscene, and then the one time that I do get addressed, it's kind of weird because the guy, the main character or the main villain, he kind of grabs me and I kind of get elevated where I'm kind of hovering in the sky. So it's kind of weird where I'm not walking around, I'm not doing any of that. Like that's the only time I've ever addressed, and I think that's where it's like I think you really missed the point on that because you can choose between four different characters, and it's like what's the point of getting a character when they're not really a part of the story, even though I'm doing all the work. You know
So
what I mean?
so it's like a silent protagonist, basically.
Exactly, exactly,
You know, like
exactly.
it sounds like wanting more interaction. Uh, from the player himself. But based
Yeah,
on what you're telling me, it just sounds like everyone else is reacting to the environment and what's going on in the story, and you guys basically watching. Is that right?
exactly, exactly. And I can see that in other games where you just do that and you're just watching, you're not interacting. But I just think that you're doing so much work and your character never gets addressed, which I think is kind of like I think it's a misstep in the way that they are actually setting this game up, because it's like you're choosing between these characters. They all have personalities. They're all different. And that's the thing too. They made a point to know each character is going to be different based on what the player wants to be as their persona, their avatar.
Cool.
So they had enough to know to change to make a personality for that character. It's just unfortunate that that personality only interacts with the enemies when you're shooting them, not when you're talking to people. Like you have dialogue with people when you finish a mission and they talk to you, and you respond back, but that's it. But in cutscenes, you're completely eliminated. You're just like watching everything.
Well, that being said, I mean, do you think the gameplay makes up for the lack of having a silent protagonist? I
Yes,
think that
yes,
okay,
yes, it
that's
does.
good at least. Is
Yeah, I mean,
do you, is it a fun game?
it
Similar,
is
similar to
fun.
Borderlands 2.
It is fun. The map and your location of where you're going is really annoying because there's no depth to where it's telling you, because sometimes some of the levels, they're like they have layers to them. So there's like a high point, a medium point, and then a low point. So it's like there's levels to it. The game doesn't tell you, it doesn't have a marker that tells you go down or go up. It's like when you're traveling somewhere, you have to hit the map and look and see where you're going.
Mhm.
It doesn't rely on giving you a pathway on where you're going. And I think for a game that doesn't, you don't really drive. You drive quite a bit. You don't drive that much. To be honest with you, you go in from one point to another. Uh, but it's times when you're trekking around and I can't decipher where I'm going. I have to pull up the map, and every time I hit the map, there's a delay. Like the game kind of has to buffer before the menu pops up, and then when I jump from one menu tab to another, it takes a second. So it's like if I'm in the middle of a battle and I have to switch my gun because maybe the character has more armor and I need a gun that can counteract that.
Yeah.
When I pause the game, it freezes for a second and then resumes, and then it just takes a minute to it takes me out of it, and it becomes like, oh, like I'm stopping myself instead of the menu being fluid. It doesn't it There's like a little pause into it. So it's that. And uh I mean, it took me a while to figure out that my character has other little companions that you can switch into, which I had no idea you can do. And I did it on accident when I was playing it, and I was like, "Whoa! I didn't know that my character has other companions that you can change into when your skill tree gets to a certain point." And I was like, "Why wasn't that explained to me? Like, why didn't I know that?"
Maybe
And
they
when I'm
wanted you to discover it.
no, see the even like the tutorial on the game
Mhm.
doesn't really tell you how to navigate through things. I mean, it's pretty simple as it is, But the one thing that's pretty unusual is that there's like a hub where you can hit the map, like the world map, and then there's like a it's called the orbit view where you can like see the planet, and then there's regions that you can select into. For the life of me, I couldn't figure out how to get to that until I accidentally did that, and I'm like at that point maybe 15-20 hours in.
Oh,
So it's like, small little things. And once I realized how to do that, then I knew what to do. So it's like small little things that weren't explained. It became kind of like I should have known how to do this. I should have known that I can switch characters, switch my companion when I get to a certain point in the skill tree. Maybe it was explained to me in the menu, but the menu doesn't really give you a lot. It's kind of bombarded, but then you have to like look at everything because you're looking at so much. You're looking at stats. You're looking at what they give you. Each weapon gives you something different, so you're reading a lot of information, and they didn't simplify that part. And I think there's small little things in it. The good thing is that the gameplay and my character is really funny, and he's really like he's like real bloodthirsty, and that's kind of like how I like to play my character,
mhm.
and I like that. I don't like the main villains because I think they're just obnoxious, and but the game is the gameplay is fun, and I don't regret actually buying the game because I was kind of reluctant at first, but I'm like, you know what? Why not try it out? I like Borderlands. Why not try it out?
Have there been major improvements since the second Borderland? Like, what are some major things, or are there any differences?
I think the aiming and shooting has been tightened up. They don't really utilize a lot where you can you because you have my character has an attack where if I jump off of something, I can hit the crouch button and he does like a downward kind of thrust where he like uses his melee attack and he like comes down on the enemy.
Mhm.
Your character doesn't really get to do that often. I've only utilized that like maybe once or twice. But no, I think that the shooting and the way you loot through the guns itself have been a little easy. Um, I think I don't know why they couldn't figure this out, but your reticle has to be right on where you want to open up a box or like to find money because I
Mhm.
mean currency is gonna get you everything. Everything costs you something. Even when you die, it takes money away from you. So currency is a big thing. So like when you're scavenging around after you finish a level, I'm always looking for these boxes that have these green little lights on them that you can interact with, and they open up. And some of them can be a guns. A lot of times it's ammunition or it's money. But it sometimes the reticle doesn't touch on the actual box itself. So I'm hitting the reload button quite often, the X button, and it's just not doing it. And I have to be right in the right position. So it's like I think there could have been a simpler way to be able to grab all that. Like, why couldn't I just? Why do you have to like open up the thing? If I'm close enough to it, why can't it just open up by itself? Like
That'd be
I already
crazy.
see it. Like if I'm in a certain spot, like if I'm looking directly at it, I know it's there. Like I don't need to be like away from it for it to come to me. Like that seamless little transition, I think that would be a lot easier, and you can grab all the stuff very quickly because that's what it does when you get ammo. Like when you open up a chest that has ammo, you can walk away from it and your ammunition gets replenished. It like kind of teleports to you. So
I remember in the second Borderlands, like you hold the like the grab button or whatever, and then pick up multiple items at the same time. Can you do that in this one as well?
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that.
Okay.
The only time the only time I've been able to do something like that is
Mhm.
if my inventory is already at its max and I try to pick up something, I can swap the weapon that I have in my hand for the gun that I'm looking at. But I haven't seen it where you can pick up multiple things at once. No, I think they actually took that out.
Okay. Well, that all that being said, like,
Yes.
what would you rate this game out of 10? Do you recommend? Would you recommend
Uh
to play or like pass?
so okay, so I'll tell you this. I don't like the rating systems. I think I'm gonna come off as someone that just doesn't like a lot of things.
Mhm.
Because I said a lot of cons instead of pros. Um, That being said, I don't particularly like rating systems because I think they can kind of be a little deceiving. I would say if you're wanting to try this game out, I would say rent it from like Redbox, and it's a very inexpensive cost, and see if this game is for you. If you've played the other Borderlands, then you know exactly what you're getting into. The
Mhm.
gameplay is fun. The combat is really good. The characters, the enemies, some of them are a little funny. Not a lot of them, uh, but it's the humor still there.
Mhm.
Um, if you've played it before and you're a fan, absolutely, I would say pick it up because you're going to get exactly what you want out of it, and you can get a lot of hours into it.
Mhm.
If you're not playing a game like this and you're not really big on looter shooters, but you want something different, I would say just try it out and see if it's a game for you, and just rent it, and then I would go from there because Borderlands is gonna, if you want to get it at a good price, I would say at some point the game is gonna be pretty cheap. So if you're a fan, absolutely. If you're not, I would say be cautious because you may not like the humor because it hits you all the time. And if you're not like a young person, then you're not going to be laughing all the time. Like I wasn't laughing all the time. I was kind of like rolling my eyes a lot, I guess. Yeah.
So, so like 6 out of 10.
Six. I'm not giving you a
I
rating.
know. I'm trying to get a rating out of you. It's
I
something.
would
Okay,
I
I would
would
get.
say I would say a buy for fans,
Mhm.
cautious for people. I would say be a little cautious and spend your money wisely.
You know what, dude? We have to think of a way. Like if you don't like rating games,
Hmm.
we have to think of like maybe in the future if we do review games,
Hmm.
like if you don't want it out of 10, we have to figure out a way of like kind of like what I
I,
asked
w-
you, like would you
I would
turn
say
to
I would say
buying it
I would say yeah. Oh, that's
higher
funny you
pass?
say that because I wanted to review um what game was it? There's a couple games that I wanted to review, and I wanted to create that actual kind of thing. I remember watching. There's this podcast that I used to listen to. I haven't listened to it in a long time. They're called Epic Battle Cry, or they changed their name to Epic Battle Axe. But they actually started on game trailers, and they had talked about that where they wanted to do like a system of like, hey, why not do um, a buy, rent, or wait kind of concept instead of saying 4 out of 10 or 5 out of 10 or
Mhm.
7 out of 10. You know what I mean? Like you're kind of like because the player, the consumer is the one that's going to have to pay for it. So it's like you're thinking of the person's wallet versus like, oh, it's 6 out of 10. You should pick it up because it's so good. But if you're like, oh, it's a 5 out of 10, what does that mean? You're like, it's kind of like unless it's like a 3, then people know what that is. So they had talked about that, and I really wanted to kind of implement something like that. So I think maybe just a buy, rent, or wait, something like that.
So,
That could work.
so ladies and gentlemen, if I were to guess what Tony would rate this out of, I would say like 6, 10. But I hear what you're saying. That's kind of interesting because for me, like I kind of I kind of enjoy seeing what other people rate games as.
Okay.
Like if it's something I really want to play and someone gives it a low score, I'm gonna play it anyway, regardless.
Hmm.
Uh, However, for me, I kind of enjoy that. Uh, whether it's a rating system out of 10, but I like the
Okay.
idea of you know informing people of like after we review a game,
Yeah.
whether we recommend that they buy it as soon as possible, or just be cautious and rent it first,
Right.
or just completely. Some games suck, and we could just recommend for them to completely pass on.
Exactly.
But that's just our recommendation. Maybe someone else will see a game that will say pass on it, but they might really enjoy it. But
Right.
at least
I
it'll
mean,
give them a different perspective.
I would say even in one I wanted to position it is that every game that I wanted to review would be posted on the YouTube channel. So if you don't want to pay for it, then you can watch the game and see if it's something you're interested in, and you don't have to pay anything. I've already paid the cost to play the game, so why not just watch it on my YouTube channel if that's the last resort?
Mhm.
If you don't want to even pay for it and you don't even want to try it and you still want to look, you're still kind of interested, then you can watch it on the YouTube channel. Like that's how I was going to position it in that position in that way.
Yeah, I think that's a great.
So so what about okay? So I've talked for you. You asked me something and it took me 15 minutes to answer. What about you? What game are you playing right now?
Hmm. Well, I recently finished playing Resident Evil remake, and I brought this up to you several times just because it's
Several.
such
I think several is lightly. I think
yeah,
you've mentioned it
like
a lot.
at least 100 times. But it's such an awesome game. Like if we were to do a rating on this one and just skip to the end, I would say you have to, if you're a fan of horror, if you're a fan of Resident Evil, third-person shooters, like just don't even hesitate. Kind of late on the bandwagon for this one, but it's such an awesome game from the graphics to the gameplay to the story. Even though some of you may already know the story from the original Resident Evil 2 game,
Mm-hmm.
I played it a long time ago, but I didn't remember anything of it. So for me, it was like a brand new experience.
Mm-hmm.
And what was so cool about it is you get to play the game twice because there's Leon and other chick that but so you play with
Claire.
thank you. Yeah. So I played Leon first, went all the way,
Mm-hmm.
and then you kind of have to play a second playthrough with the other character that you haven't played with, to get the full
Mm-hmm.
story of the game. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was kind of cool as well. But
Okay.
the actual gameplay, I haven't felt scared like that in a game in such a long time. I skipped Resident Evil 7, but I'm really debating on playing that. But this game did such a good job, like inventory management. Like it wasn't like Resident Evil 5 and 6. I don't know if you played those, but
I remember, was four the one that was in the jungle in Africa, or was that five?
that was fine.
Okay.
4 was really
I I
and
I,
that
I
was
could not I could not stand that game.
it was okay. It wasn't bad. I thought the co-op was fun. But Resident Evil 4, that's when they introduced like third person perspective. Because I hate
Yes,
that.
that one I do remember playing. That one I really liked. That one was on the GameCube
Mhm.
originally, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and that kind of blew me away. And that's Resident Evil 2 remake. I love it because they instead of keeping the old tanky controls from the 90s or from the original Resident Evil 2 game,
Right.
they made it third person. You have a lot more control.
Right.
Even though you have a lot more control, it's still scary. Like these zombies are scary. And if you have a good system and it, like you're playing on PC and you have a good gaming rig, graphics are beautiful. The zombies are scary. You try to
Yeah.
put them down, but you have to be careful because you don't want to waste all of your ammo. Because if you waste all of your ammo, then it puts you in a tight spot. So, and that's what I really liked about it. So not only the visuals, game, audio, but just the fact that you have to manage your inventory from health to weapons to ammo. Uh, yeah, for me, we can do a whole podcast on that. Like, maybe if I can try to record some clips, or if we can pull from somewhere and go over that.
Mm-hmm.
That is like, just got it right. When developers put their heart and soul into a game, you can really tell.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mass Effect, for example, like
Yeah.
the first two Mass Effect, like
Mm-hmm.
you can really tell people, developers really work hard on a game. You see that out.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that, and I'm sure all other gamers, they just put so much work into it rather than releasing like a game that's not complete.
Like Assassin's Creed every year.
Yeah,
Okay.
or but yeah, I mean, trying to think of what else to say on Resident Evil 2. But yeah, it's a great game. Uh, Recently finished that. I pre-ordered Red Dead Redemption 2, and
Mm-hmm.
since I did it through the Rockstar launcher on
Mm-hmm.
PC, I was able to pick two games. So I picked Max Payne 3 and LA Noire.
Nice.
So I started playing it the other night, Max Payne 3,
Mm-hmm.
and it aged pretty well. Like I remember the year that it came out, but like the
Yeah.
graphics are still nice. You know, the gameplay is still nice. I forgot how bloody it was. There's
Yes.
like a slow motion cam, and you just keep like pumping bullets.
Yeah, it's great.
God, like I completely forgot about that. But
I love their seamless transition from cutscene to gameplay. I love that. Like the scene where when you're in the um when you're at the club and you push the guy out of the window,
mhm,
and then it goes from cutscene and it transitions into gameplay
yeah,
seamlessly, where you cut through, like you break through the windshield, like the window seal on the second floor of this club, and then you're free falling. But then there's enemies that are shooting at you, and it's in slow motion that you have to turn to the side and start shooting while you're falling down. I remember that vividly. That whole club scene, that level, I played that level several times over because I was just like the lighting in that and the music
mhm,
was so good. I love that his character would actually, if you're diving in one direction, he'll hit the wall and he'll actually fall. He'll hit the wall and like fall down.
mhm.
So there's actual the character has a real physics to him, and he gets up like like a normal person. Like he fall if you dive backwards and he hits something, he falls back down and he has to get up.
Mhm.
And even when you get up, you can still shoot. You can stay on the ground and shoot.
Yeah, I love games that can do that. That can weave, um, like cutscenes and gameplay in and out seamlessly. Like
Do a lot of games do that? I
uh,
I, I honestly think I think Rockstar is the only one that does that.
I'm trying to think, are there other games like that? I'm sure there are, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. But yeah, Rock
I don't.
really.
I don't think it. I don't think they make a point to. I don't think so, man. I honestly, I don't think they do it in such a way where you can't tell. You know how like when you see a cutscene, it's all perfectly blend or rendered and animated, and then the game switches. I think the closest would probably be The Last of Us. Some of the cutscenes were gameplay, but uh, obviously the cutscenes looked a hell of a lot better. But there were some scenes where the cutscene was in the actual gameplay, so I think that would be the closest, honestly.
You know what other game I think has done that? Have you played Uncharted 4?
Yeah, yeah,
That was a beautiful.
that's right. You know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. That they did do that.
Like it was so well done. It's like, wow, is this a cutscene or is this actual gameplay?
Yeah,
Like some of the moments were amazing. Uh, yeah, Naughty Dog, they are amazing gaming.
they've. I mean,
About it.
their team is just they know exactly what they're doing, and like Uncharted 4 was just the perfect blend between a a shooter as well as a stealth based game,
Mhm,
and a kind of a treasure chest, kind of like you're um, like a modern Indiana Jones.
mhm. Yeah, that was.
I think Nathan Drake's character is just he's so funny,
Mhm,
and he's such a cool character.
mhm.
I've loved every single one of the Uncharted's.
Yeah, I need to play the originals because I think I just started straight with Uncharted 4. I really,
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
maybe I played a little bit of the originals, but I don't.
I think two is probably the one that I really like the most because they started to get the stealth down, where your character can crouch and he can be able to like take characters down real quickly,
Mhm,
and you actually get rewarded by doing stuff like that. Like Nathan would crawl and then jump on somebody's back and break their neck real quick, and you would get rewarded for that.
oh, nice.
And I think two is probably my favorite, but yeah, the fourth one is just that scene. You remember that scene when you're following that pickup truck or that big truck, that semi, and you get a rope and you're kind of like hanging behind the actual truck, and you're kind of getting
Oh,
dragged
yeah.
on the ground, and like people are shooting at you on motorcycles, and you have to shoot them.
Oh my god. Yeah, that was an amazing scene. Like video game moment or video game history, at least for
Yeah.
like that. That was amazing. And you know, another scene that was amazing for me was
Hmm.
motorcycle.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
away. That was one of the best. Uh,
Yeah. It's wild.
yeah, it makes me want to play it again. Such a,
So your rating on Resident Evil?
yes, that one. I mean, if it's a 10, a scale 10 out of 10, I would give it a 10. If we're using another scale like buy, rent, or wait, pass on it, definitely buy. Like, even if you're not a fan of the person, like, it's such a fun experience, you know.
And it's not it's not expensive, is it? It's
I
like maybe like 30
still,
bucks.
yeah, well, when it was on sale, I got it for like 35, 40.
Okay. So you would say Resident Evil 2, your rating would be, say, 10 out of 10?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. 10 out of 10. And if you went, okay, so based on your rating system, 10 out of 10, and based on my rating system, where would you place it?
On your rating system of like buy it now or wait, or
Yes. Yeah.
buy it now.
Okay. So no question. So you're across the board.
Stop wasting your time. Stop wasting us. Yeah, just turn this off and go and pick it up.
Well, don't tell them to turn it off. I mean, the cool thing about the podcast is they can listen to it at any time.
Unsubscribe, hit the dislike button.
Unsubscribed. You guys talk too much, and the one guy sounds like he just hates everything.
No, but honestly, like such an awesome game. And you know what else was cool?
Yeah.
They released DLC content
Uh huh.
like after the game was released.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got it, I had the full game plus DLC content, and the DLC content includes like it's not a story mode. It's basically getting from point A to point B and surviving. You know, and they have like different characters. Like the first one, I think he's called Hank. He's a guy in like military gear. I've
Yeah.
seen anything. So that was the first one. That is so exciting. Like it took me several times to actually beat it because it was so
Mm-hmm.
hard, and you have to learn. Oh, okay, what do I do here? Should I just run past these zombies, or chuck a grenade at them? You know. But once you get the rhythm and figure out what to do in each room, you know, and get past it,
Right.
that's such a fun experience as well. When I finish that, the next the next thing that you unlock, it's the tofu character, which
Tofu?
yeah, it's like a like you're a tofu running around, like a giant tofu.
That's funny.
It's cool because like if you get bit by a zombie, like you see a little bit of the tofu, like it dissolves.
That's funny.
Yeah,
That's so funny that you're an atom, like you're a piece of food. That's kind of
it's
interesting.
weird, but it's like it's still kind of fun. I haven't beat that one yet, and there's like
Okay.
three other ones as well with like different characters. So they kind of have like subplots, but the main type of gameplay is get from point A to point B, survive, and beat it. So I haven't even done that yet.
Okay. So there's different types of modes within this DLC. So it gives you
Yeah.
more of a value with a game that's essentially half the cost.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Very good.
Yeah.
Dude, I wish we can show. Maybe if we could on one podcast, if we could just include a little bit of gameplay,
Hmm.
just so people can see what I'm talking about. Like if they haven't seen any videos of it or played it, but if we just throw in some pictures or some video.
Well, I actually have it's not Resident Evil 2, but I played Resident Evil 7. I played a good chunk of it. I didn't
How was
finish
it?
the
Was it
game.
good?
It's it's kind of like the same type of thing where instead of it being a third person, it's a first person,
Hmm.
and it was interesting. It kind of gave me a little bit of a kind of a what is it? Kind of like a like your character is like going to like Louisiana because he's finding his girlfriend that like disappeared that he thought was dead, and all of a sudden he got a message from her, and he goes to like this place in like the swamp, and it's like this farm, and there's this like this underground kind of like tunnel system that he finds, and it like houses and stuff like that that are really creepy.
Mhm.
It was fun. It was a fun game. The cutscenes were interesting. The characters were pretty menacing. Like
Hmm.
they felt like they had to, they felt really like you had to figure out that you had to shoot them in the right direction, like shoot them, you know, in the head or shoot them in the chest, and like you had to be aware of like how you actually, attack, try to take these enemies down. So I liked it. I didn't actually. You know what? No, I take that back. I did actually finish the game,
Okay.
and I recorded a. I think I recorded the entire game,
Oh, wow.
so I could probably put in some sample of gameplay of what we're talking about. But I don't have the second one. But
Okay. Um,
we can always do that. Once we get our stuff together, and once we get everything to where we want it to be, then we'll start adding things into it. So that's no
okay.
problem.
Do you recommend
Yeah.
like do you recommend based off your rating system? We'll pick it up now.
You just want me to go my you just want me to put a number on it.
Put a number.
Um
Put a number.
I would say yeah. I think Resident Evil 7 at this point you can get very cheap. So I think you can get it for like maybe $10.
Oh, okay.
So I would say yeah. I mean, if you like these type of like survival type of games that really put you in the midst of like this kind of allure of this horror kind of, these corridors, and you feel very claustrophobic,
Mhm.
then yeah, it does its job. It's not like Dead Space, like the original Dead Space, how that game in the sound and like your character moving around, they did something really interesting with that because the sound itself was just perfect.
That was,
You can hear things around you, and it's like it scared the hell out of me when I played that game.
it's been a while, but I remember that was a really fun game.
Yeah,
Scary.
yeah, yeah.
I'm glad that Resident Evil, like they're going back to their roots and making it scary again. Like I played, 5 and 6, and they just went like hard, like action mode instead of it being scary. So like the zombies didn't really feel like that much of a threat.
Yeah, because you're very powerful. Like that one guy in five, I don't know who that dude is, but I remember him being like all jacked up, and he
Chris
like
Redfield.
punched. Yeah, he like punched the characters like no big deal.
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember I played that game when it came out, and I was just annoyed. I didn't like the fact that you couldn't turn around. That you had to like push a button in order to turn behind you. And I get that they're kind of keeping it close to how the original Resident Evil was, where you would stop and have to aim, and then you can move around.
Mhm.
I get that. But it's like, come on, if you're going on third person, give me freedom to move around completely. Give me the camera ability to move it around my character at any point. Like, don't restrict me.
Mhm.
That was a big thing I didn't really like. And the zombies, yeah, you're right. It wasn't scary at all.
Like with Resident Evil 2 remake, it's crazy because you're shooting these zombies in the head, and it's like so they'll come at you, and it depends. Like sometimes, like 1 or 2 shots will take out a zombie. Other times, you'll have to shoot it. Like you'll shoot it like 2, 3 times, and then it'll go down. What's cool is you think it's dead, so like you'll walk by it, and then it wakes up again. It tries to like it grabs your leg and it tries to bite. Like
Jeez.
it's so crazy. And then so ever since then, like one of the tactics I used was like if I had a knife on, like if I see a zombie on the floor, like even if I didn't shoot it, I would knife it just to see if it was
Yeah,
alive or dead. Like I got that paranoid, just
that's cool.
yeah,
That's
I
cool.
really enjoyed that. And then it's like you have to be careful because if you're using your knife, then it runs out. So it's
Okay.
back to like the inventory management I was talking about earlier. So it's like you
Hmm.
have to decide something. Okay, like is it worth knifing every zombie that's on the floor, or should I just run past them so I can save my knife? Because a knife is a lifesaver too. Like sometimes if the zombie grabs you, you can use the knife like stab the zombie, get
Right.
them off.
Right.
So yeah, it's just so many elements to it.
Okay.
Awesome.
And have you finished have you finished the game entirely already?
Yeah, yeah, I finished it.
Okay. Does it care? I mean, does it kind of pick up exactly kind of like how the second one was, or do they kind of add more to the story that you didn't see prior, or is it pretty close?
Like I said, I don't remember too much of the story, but
Hmm.
I like it a lot more than the original. Of course, like I think I got spoiled, like graphics and you know, control wise or like
Right.
gameplay wise.
Right.
I go back to tank mode. Like after playing in third person,
Hmm.
it's hard for me to enjoy a game, or maybe playing a game that's so old now. I don't think I'd be able to enjoy it. So for me, is it better than the original? Yeah, of course. Newer, the graphics are a lot nicer.
Right.
Third person, the controls are really smooth. Uh, one, just
Okay.
it's like stop listening to us. Just pause it. Okay, you don't have to stop us. Just pause it. Go get the game, then put it back.
You have no idea what time these anyone's listening to this. I mean,
This
it could be it could be the middle of the night. They can't go anywhere. It's maybe
there's no
or they're working
no, there's no excuses. Whether you're at work, just clock out, go to the nearest store or whatever, or
and just get it.
yeah, just get it.
Okay. Okay.
Let
So your recommendation is just stop everything at once, no matter what you're doing,
guess.
and go do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wish I played it sooner. I was hesitant.
Right.
I normally
Ye-
I'm kind of a cheap gamer. Like I normally like to wait until a game is on sale and then
Oh, I know.
debate whether to pick it up or not.
Oh, I know. You're not one to pick up day one.
Yeah,
Like it's very very rarely that you do that.
yeah.
And like the Red Dead Redemption 2, that's very rare for you to do that.
Oh yeah.
You don't make a point to do that.
Yeah, I had to have a meeting with the missus, let
Yeah.
her know what's
Yeah.
going on. Hey, I normally don't do this. Game is $60, but if I
You have to give your speech. You have to
yeah, I had a
give out reasons.
and like PowerPoint presentation laid out. But no, really, like for me, the reason why I did this is because I enjoyed the first Red Dead Redemption game so much, so I
Right.
know what I'm getting with this.
Oh, you're getting a lot more. You're getting a lot
And
more.
that's why I did it. It's like I'm not going to wait anymore. I already waited a year, because I
Yes.
didn't want to play it on consoles. I want to play it on my PC because it's stronger than my consoles, and I want to get
Right.
the best out of this. I was so
Right.
tempted, dude. Like I saw it on sale a few times. Like I don't remember if it was for the Xbox or the PS4.
Hmm.
Should I pick it up? And I said, no, I'm gonna wait. I'm kind of glad I did.
Yeah, but is this the first game that they finally put on PC? Because I know that they're notorious for not putting the original Red Dead Redemption on their website.
Yeah, I
I
don't
like
think they ever made Red Dead Redemption PC.
no, like I mean, I know that LA Noir is on there, and I know that Max. I mean,
Mhm.
I'd have to think I'd have to imagine that being online and having their own system where you can buy the games directly from there and play it. Maybe I don't know this, but it seems to me that seems very new to them.
Yes, that as far as I know, that is new. Because I was thinking it was going to be on Steam. Like, so
Right,
they are going to release it on Steam, but not on
right.
November 5th. It's coming out like December. So that's one thing that kind of bothers me. I guess it can be another topic for another day, but like for PC gamers, why are so many gaming companies coming out with their own launcher? Like I just want all my games in one place.
You know the reason why.
I know, so they can make more money.
Exactly. Exactly.
I just answered my own question. So
Yeah.
just listen.
You know the answer to that, and unfortunately, it's because they want to monetize everything. You know that, but it's like it's unfortunate, but they why I mean, there's applications for everything. Like you can actually stay at home your entire life if you wanted to, and you can have everything delivered to you. Everything. Like there's no reason for you to leave unless if you can work from home, you never have to see another person unless you're getting stuff delivered to you.
I think you're describing the story of Wally. Have you
Oh, I love that. I love that. I love
we're
that.
headed that direction?
Well, I mean, come on. I mean, what is it? What's the company? What was the company name? Is Buy and Large or Buy and Save or something like that?
I don't remember. It's been a while.
Yeah, I think it's like Buy and Large or Buy and Save or something like that. This big conglomerate corporation,
Mhm.
basically takes over and is the reason for humanity's like them staying together for like 700 years or something like that, and all they're doing is just feeding the people.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're eating food from a milkshake. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, man. And they're not doing anything. They're just being entertained all the time.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
what a beautiful world that is.
Yeah, health, and maybe we can even have a whole other podcast on that, health and exercises and eating healthy.
Right.
Uh,
Okay.
for
Okay.
me, like it's really important because so I have a full time desk job and then I have a part
Hmm.
time desk job. So I'm not moving around too much.
So you have to be. You have to be active.
Yeah, so I recently signed up at the Y,
Hmm.
and I got to get my fat butt in gear. I didn't want to be.
Come on, come on, man. You've never been a heavy guy at all. You're too tall.
I got a little I got a little chub on my stomach.
You got a little.
Enough, dude. Yeah, I like get kind of bothered. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna have a dad bod. Just because I'm married and have kids.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah. No, I mean, being healthy, it's important, and exercising.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
play games, but at the same time, make sure you exercise every once in a while. Or
I like your little your little info that you're giving people. Like you're kind of giving a little insight of like the more you know. You're giving them a little happy thing of like, hey, just make sure, sometimes the world sucks, but make sure that you at least exercise and don't think about movies like Wall-E where the whole civilization has destroyed the planet because of pollution and all the waste that we have. Don't think about that.
we're like heading there though. That's what's scary. It's like compared.
Hey man, we got when you have so much influx of people that just the amount of waste that you have for yourself and you times that by what how many people are on this planet? 8 billion people.
Mhm.
I mean, like everyone has a huge amount of trash that you consume yourself. So when you multiply that with so many people on the planet, it's like, I, where is it all going? It's going somewhere.
We waste so much trash. Just if you just look at the U.S. alone, like it's
Yeah,
sad, like food waste and stuff. I don't know how we got to this topic, but this is very important
you
as well.
you did that because you're having your what is it that the what do they call that when you do a little like it's a commercial but it's a paid sponsorship or something like that.
Um, Oh yeah, this is brought to you by Get Off
Yeah,
Bud and Workout.
exactly. Bracti- this is sponsored by the Y.
Yeah,
Get your ass up and start moving around.
yeah, exactly.
Well, that's cool that you're actually you're doing that because you're staying active not only for yourself but because of your kids because I'm sure that they move you around all the time anyways. So it's like you have to.
You have to keep up with them. And like especially my two older boys, like they like to wrestle and
Yeah.
goof around every once in a while. So I got to keep up.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta show them who's boss, man. You don't want them taking you down because the worst thing that your kids can ever realize is if anything happens and you have to defend yourself and they find out that their dad can't fight. You're like, the kids don't want to see that. Like they want to at least see that your dad can be able to like stand his own ground and like still be strong. If the kids can take you down, it's like, come on, you gotta
I hope
you gotta keep yourself active.
I hope we're I'm never put in that situation where I have to defend myself in front of my kids. But um,
You just think of all superhero movies that you've ever seen, and or just get the power of Grayskull in you, and you can have the power.
you know what though? I've as a part of my routine, like for exercise, I like to
Hmm.
box, like hit a punching bag.
There you go.
And my middle son, he he really likes it. Like I whatever I learn, I train him on. Like boxing. And
Yeah.
by all means, I'm not a boxer at all. I've never sparred with anybody. I took 1 month of like boxing lessons, but like
Yeah.
mainly more on the exercise part, not like
Hmm.
actually boxing with somebody.
Right.
It's really cool, and I train him, and it's funny because we talk about things like, I'm kind of preparing him now. Like if somebody tries to pull you, I said, okay, we never fight, but if somebody is fighting you, you have to defend yourself,
Right.
but you have to try to get out of it at first, like,
Right.
I went through the motions, like you got to tell your teacher or just like walk away from. But I said, that
Right.
time comes, somebody is up in your face or swinging at you. I said, you have to defend yourself.
Right.
And for me, this is really important because like my dad didn't like teach me this stuff when I was, dude, I don't know how we were talking about this, but
I mean, it's good, man. I mean, this is exactly why we're doing this, is because it's we're talking about ourselves, and there's no like we're not creating a filter of like, oh, we're not like morning DJs on a radio station where we're hitting specific things, and like when you're done with it, we go to segments and we just talk about we're not doing shots at 4 in the morning and trying to be funny. We're just being ourselves. Some people that are listening to this, they may not like it, but it's like, hey, we it's free.
mhm,
If you don't like it, then there's other free things that you can be able to listen to or watch.
mhm,
I mean, I spend hours on YouTube, so I mean I'm not paying for it. I mean, I'm paying for my internet. I mean, if you want to be real about it, obviously you're paying to get that, but it's like it's free.
but no, like, I do hope somebody can benefit from it. That'd be great. But like what I was saying, like before my dad passed away,
Hmm.
he was really old. So like he didn't teach me any of the stuff that I'm trying to teach my kids now. I tried to learn from that. Like
Yeah,
before I got married, I was like, fine. I want to make sure that I'm old enough so I, play with them, so I can teach stuff. And that's what I'm trying to do.
that's perfect. I mean, that's exactly what you want to do. You want to be able to instill those kind of values because it's important for you, for your kids. And I mean, come on, man, you're active with your kids. You know exactly what they're doing. Your interests of what they're interested in is kind of you're interested in that as well. Like, I mean, you and your wife have a really good partnership with each other, and the fact that she tolerates you and the amount of like games that you want to play.
Mhm.
I mean, come on, man. She's already a saint as it is. Like,
Yeah, like,
you if you had it your way, you would just barricade yourself into a room for a couple days and nobody would see you. Obviously, you wouldn't shower, but you would just be playing. You'd be playing Warframe if you had the ability to,
yeah, I just
if you
back.
could.
So like I wouldn't use bath or a diaper, have someone
Just go.
next to me,
Yeah,
make sure shit, all the unhealthy stuff.
all the terrible
I,
things, but it'd be glorious for you. That's like your idea of like a vacation.
it's funny, yeah. It's like that's my fun time. Like whenever I
Right.
play games, that I'm always gonna have
Yeah.
a passion for it. Like I mentioned in the first podcast,
Hmm.
I'm always gonna have a passion for playing video games. It's different. The older you
Right.
get, you'd have different responsibilities.
Right. I remember you telling me that it's like somebody actually said that if they ever think that they've grown out of it and they don't see it as something that they would do, it's like I don't think I'd ever get to that point.
Mhm.
But I remember after you said that, I was like, that's exactly what your brother told me. He said the same thing to me, and then my response was like, cool, give it to me.
That's a good response. I like that.
Yeah, of course I'm gonna take it. I mean, he had a Street Fighter arcade in his
Mhm.
backyard next to the pool, and when I saw that for the first time, I was like, dude, come on, man. How do you have such you have well of enough space to put it in your house? Why do you put this nice thing outside when it's going to get destroyed by the weather and the heat? I was like, man, to me, I was just like, man, it's so disrespectful because that arcade itself is just there. Why not keep it inside and where it can be clean and you can play it whenever you want.
Do you still have that arcade or whatever?
No, actually, no. My cousin and I, we actually got it from him. I think he sold it to us. He sold it to my cousin, and we put it in at his place. And not too long after that, I ended up getting my own Mortal Kombat 2 dedicated arcade machine
Oh wow.
from this guy that was selling it on I think it was OfferUp, or at the time, no, OfferUp didn't exist. It was Craigslist,
Hmm.
and it was perfect condition. I ended up having it broke my heart, man. But you know what? I never told you this, but it broke my heart because when I moved up to Seattle, I didn't have enough space to put it in anywhere, and I had to sell it. But the awesome thing about it is that I ended up selling it to a father and son that were putting that arcade, in their game room.
Oh, that's
And the son had no idea what Mortal Kombat was, and I even had the booklet of like the moves because that's what that guy gave me,
mm,
and I had them, and even the manual as well of like how it works. It was perfect. Inside it was clean. Everything was perfect, and
combat.
I ended up selling it to him, to a father and son. I was like, you know what? That's perfect. The people that I want to sell it to are the people that are going to appreciate it.
Mm.
I've gotten my time with it. Now I'm kind of giving it to somebody. Obviously, for a cost. I got to get paid, get my money back. But it felt good to give it to somebody. But it broke my heart, man. I took photos when I was wheeling it out,
Mhm.
and it was sitting in like the front yard when they
Right.
were just about to pick it up, and I took pictures of it, and I was just like, I was shaking my head. I was like, why can't I take
Does a
this?
single tear
What?
fall out of your eye?
Yes, I kind of got a little.
Oh.
Yeah, I can admit it. I did, because that arcade. Not only having it at the house at my place, I could play it whenever I wanted,
Mhm.
and it was just a reminder that no matter what happens in your life, those little things that you have take you back to a time when you didn't have these grown up kind of situations that you have to deal with,
Mm.
when it was simpler, and the only thing you cared about was that one specific thing. Like, I'm going to have fun after I get out of school with my friends, and we're going to play Mario Kart. Like, those little things that you remember was a thing that I saw every single day. Even though I didn't play the arcade all that much, I played it enough where I enjoyed it. Even I would even turn it on when the sound would just be on, and it would just play the intro of the game and all that stuff, because I wanted to hear it. And it brought me such amount of happiness, even though I didn't play the game all that much later down. I had it for like 6 years,
That's
but it still gave me joy. Like, I never like mistreated it. I never like I didn't I kept it in a place where it would always be clean, and I kept I kept it up. Like, I that was the thing that I loved.
that was a that was a touching story. I was going to give you a hard time
Thank you.
because Mortal
Thank you.
Kombat. I'm more of a Street Fighter guy, but
Hey man, I could take you down with Street Fighter Championship Edition at any time.
oh,
And Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, you don't even want those problems, okay? I don't even
no,
have
you
to
can beat,
you don't have to get into that.
but Street Fighter, I don't think you can beat me.
Okay, so I've had these conversations before with other people, and you know what? Anytime you want to throw down, I'm sure there's like arcades, like an arcade bar that's there in Kansas. One day, I'll take you up on that offer, and I will embarrass you. Please bring your kids and everybody, because I'm going to embarrass you, and I'm not going to say anything, and you're just going to be mad, and I'm going to look up, I'm going to point
Mhm.
and just show you that I've won. Like, player, I 2 wins and stuff like that. I'll just keep pointing to that. That's all I have to do. That's going to infuriate you even more.
So
I love it.
we need to make it a podcast. So I don't know how we do this, but if we can, maybe if we had like a live podcast.
We can do that.
that-
Yeah, you can simply video record it, and then we can post it on there. Yeah, I got no problem with that. I will destroy you if we're playing Street Fighter 2 or Championship Edition. I will
I prefer
annihilate you.
Street Fighter, like Super Street Fighter 4 or 5.
See, that's see. Okay, my experience is just championship.
Mhm.
Street Fighter Two, uh, Street Fighter Two Championship Edition, Special Edition, and then Turbo, and that's it. I don't jump into three. I didn't get into that. Those anything to Street Fighter Two, I'll destroy you in. Just like Mortal Kombat, if I do one, two, I didn't. I'm not a big fan of three
Mhm.
and four. Any one of those, I can destroy you in.
Yeah, like Mortal Kombat, I'm sure you can kick my butt in that, but Street Fighter,
Okay.
played it many years. Just have this confidence in me, like just be.
Okay. Okay. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Before you even start saying that you think you will, at some point, if you ever go to an arcade bar that's there, I'm sure there is some, at least one. Go there and see if they have Street Fighter. If they do, luckily, if you do, luckily, you can just jump in there and just try and see if you can do the moves. Because I have no idea what character you play as, and if you say Dalsum, then I know exactly what kind of player you are.
No, I was never good with those. My mains were like Ryu and Ken.
Okay,
Those were my main.
okay. Why don't you just brush up on your Hadoukens and see how many you can do?
Wait, let me. Who's your
If you what?
who's your like? Who do you play as?
It's either one of those two.
Oh,
That's my go-to.
okay, you're going down.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay.
So I'm glad everybody is witnessing to this.
Well, okay. So let me. I say this. I'm not only saying this, but this actually happened. This is a true story, and maybe we'll end on this
Okay.
point. Okay. So what you're telling me is exactly a situation I had with one of my friends that I used to work with. Her boyfriend at the time, that they're married now, he has his own arcades, like a bunch of Japanese arcade cabinets at his place. Now, I had heard about this because the girl that I work with, she would tell me, and I'd always be talking about games in some way, and she already knew. So one day we go out to this arcade bar, and she invites her boyfriend over, and they had Street Fighter 2, and I was playing Championship Edition, and I was just playing, having fun. He came in, and we started. I didn't know this guy, so we started talking a little. I was like, dude, I'm excited. Your girl said that you're good at Street Fighter, man. It's like I haven't played anyone really good in a very long time. I'm excited. He's like, yeah, me too. We started playing, and he was good, really good.
Mhm.
And I think I got too excited, and I have a rule about not throwing in that championship in Street Fighter 2 because obviously I know it's a part of the game, but I think in my this is simply just me. Now I get a lot of flack about it. Throwing, in my opinion, is absolutely cheap.
Oh,
I
yeah,
know it's a tactic.
I think
I know all the things you're gonna say. I know it's something implemented in the game. You can use it. However, you can abuse it. If you stick somebody in the corner and you're punching and I'm crouching, blocking at the same time, and then you just get me and throw me,
yeah.
that's cheap. And I understand if you don't like it, don't let me do it. But it's cheap. It's one button that you're pushing to do something versus having to do moves and adjustments on when the character is going to jump and you counter them by kicking them quicker. You know what I mean? Like small little things like that I think require a lot of skill than just pushing one button. Now, anyone that's listening to this, if you agree or disagree, please let us know because that's just a rule that I have, and it's a rule that I've had with my brother and my cousin and some of my friends when I was a kid. So this is not just a rule that I'm like I have to do the rule and this is my whatever. This is something that I remember doing when I was a kid. So this is hard for me to get away from that. So I say that because he would do that. And I was so infuriated and
Mhm.
I kind of had to keep my composure because it was fun playing this guy. So, anyways, we played for a while, and he was good. He played as Zangief. He played as Dalsum, Blanca. He was good with all of them. Like he knew how to counter every single thing that I did at him, and I had to adjust on how to play him. He beat me more often than I beat him. Like I beat him a small amount of times, but he beat me overall. Like he was good. So we had a good time, and he invites us to go to his house with his girl to show us his arcade room. And man, we went in there. We had fun. We're playing like Neo Geo games that he had. He had a bunch of other games, but he had a bunch of fighting games. So again, we started playing Street Fighter again, and once again, he kept throwing me and throwing me. And I know this only because the people that other my other friends that were in the living room, they could hear me, and I was screaming or like yelling at the top of my lungs, but I was having fun. I was so excited, and the guy, he was into it too. Like we were having fun. I never like made a point to like make him uncomfortable, but yet the next day I never heard back from him ever.
Oh wow.
Like I mean completely blacklisted. Like his girl I work with at the time, and I would text him, and I heard nothing from him, and I was like, hey, I would tell her, I was like, hey, what's up with your boy? I mean, what's up with your man? Like he's not responding back to me. I mean, I thought we had a fun time, and she was just like, I don't really know. So I never heard the other story of it, but it's like we were having fun, and if you have an arcade with a bunch of fighting games, wouldn't you think you have a little bit more of a thick skin? Because you have to, right? Am
Mhm.
I? Is that just me, or what do you think?
No, you're right. But didn't you say that he won the majority of the game?
Yes,
So what? That's
yes,
interesting. Why would he be upset if he won the majority of the game?
exactly.
Huh.
And I think maybe okay. To be perfectly honest with you, I think it's because I kept saying that it's cheap,
Oh.
and I was just like, why do you keep doing that? And it would infuriate me, but I would win. There would be times that I'd win, but I knew he would be going for it, so I'd counter him by doing it. But he realized that I knew that he was going to do
Mhm.
it, and he would counter my counter, and I was infuriating, man. But like I said, he was really good. It was fun, but yeah, he won a good majority of the time than me. I didn't win a lot,
Mhm.
but it was so much fun to play this guy, and I would just think, hey, if you got an arcade, a bunch of arcades that are fighting games mainly, you can be a little bit more tougher than that.
Mhm.
Or maybe it's just me. I don't know.
No,
Maybe I was too aggressive. I can take accountability on that. I think I was.
I think you're right. Like in order to play competitive games like that, like you're gonna have to have a thick skin and not get upset so quickly. Be
Right.
honest with you, I'm
Yeah.
you know, I mainly like playing single player and co-op games. I like
Okay.
some competitive games,
Okay.
but wait for it. Oh, but like,
But you're saying like when you do play
oh
competitive
yeah,
games?
like I don't like to get too competitive. Like when I was playing Overwatch, at one point in
Yes.
time, I really got into it, and I would play competitive matches, and so I
Hmm.
would get really mean, rude. I'm
Right.
just like, skip this. I don't want to play games where people are going to be, that upset, or I get upset myself. I'm like losing like 3 or 4 games in a row.
Yeah.
So sometimes because of that, it's like that's why I always fall back on single player co-op. But for you, Tony, I'm gonna make that. This makes me really want to get back to Street Fighter again.
Good. Good. You do your due diligence, and you find that arcade, and wherever it is, you go, and you do instead of doing your exercise your movements with your joysticks, with the joystick and the buttons, and get your moves
I don't
down.
even think I need to practice though. Like that's
Okay. Okay, that's fine. I love your confidence.
thank you.
I I love it. I love it. It's great. I just okay.
Well, you
Okay.
do you
Okay.
have a PS4 and an Xbox, or just a PS4?
PS4 and 360. Yep.
I wonder, do you think Street Fighter Five would be on sale if we get a good price? Like we might as well play the newer Street Fighter if we're gonna.
Okay, so I have a bit of I have a bit of a give you a little bit of a I don't know what the word is, but okay.
Contact?
Only time I can actually play. I don't like playing the joystick or the controller. I like to have the joystick like the original arcade like buttons. So if you want to do this, then I need to be able to like play on an actual like joystick with
We have
buttons.
rules, man. No throwing. You need a arcade.
Hey man, hey, what do you want me to do? I'm a victim of my own childhood. What do you want me to
This is how
do?
you're gonna win, man. Yes.
Well, okay, I don't. Okay,
Terrible.
so I don't play. My rules are only those specific two games, because those type of games, because that's what I played the most of. Like I never played, um, well, I never played. I played a little bit of Tekken, like Tekken Tag. I didn't play Soul Calibur that much. I didn't play. I'm kind of blanking on other games, but like I didn't play a lot of like fighting games that much. I mean, I played a lot of brawler games, but that the my bread and butter is from original Street Fighter
Mhm.
and the original Mortal Kombat. Like I like to this day, if I go and play my brother, he doesn't play the game. He doesn't play games at all, but he can actually. He's the one that still gives me. Um, he gives me that actual like competition because he's still good at it. It doesn't matter if he doesn't play it; he remembers it.
How is your brother doing?
He's good. He's good, man. He owns his own company in Arizona, so like he's doing good. He does photography as
Nice,
well, so he's doing really good. Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Um,
So I think that challenge is great, man. I love it.
accept it. Accept.
I I of course I accept your challenge. I will be a fool not
Okay,
to.
let's make it fair. Let's if we can somehow play Street Fighter Two like at an arcade machine.
Yes.
We'll do one that way, but one we can do
Hmm.
with the controller. That's how I like. I'm used to the controller as opposed to
For
arcade.
for Street Fighter? Are you saying Street Fighter 5?
Either Street,
Like the newer versions?
yeah, but like with
Okay.
controller, not with a
Okay.
arcade.
Okay. So I have no problem playing these other games. Like the newer versions of them, no problem. So we can keep the challenge
Same
on. Yeah,
newer.
I got no problem with that. I don't know how to play those games, but I can play it and pick it up. It's gonna take me a while, but I'll have to at least know how to play the game. So you have to give me that.
That's not an excuse.
Well, you're gonna beat me. I'm not gonna know the moves.
All right.
You're gonna know all the combo moves, and all the games are all based on combos. Okay, so that's the biggest thing. All the games now are all based on combos and counters, and those type of games, like the Street Fighter Two, even though there's a little bit of combos, it's really about what you do and how I counter
Mhm.
you and how I can defend against what you do. So it's a little bit
I just
slower.
remembered a character that I used to play a lot with Super Street Fighter 4. Paul,
Hmm.
really good. Like he actually
Yeah,
became my main character in Street Fighter 4. Like he got really good.
yeah. He had a strong
Mhm.
punch, strong like that where he would pull back and then he would hit you. Yeah, and I think he would hit you a couple times with it. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, we got to set.
So okay, so we got a challenge with that. We'll figure out the wagers and we'll figure out what happens. I just want okay, I want your family there. So when you lose
Oh
it,
my god,
I want them to have to take you home and have to say, "Oh, you know what? You really shouldn't have talked like that." Because clearly Tony knew what he was doing.
you're trying to humble me. We'll see.
That's what I want. So then you can pick up your rules on what you want. What happens to me?
We've never Street
Whatever.
Fighter. before?
Huh?
We've never played Street Fighter before. I'm trying to.
No, I don't think. I don't think so, man. I don't think so.
Wow. Okay.
I don't think so. Like if you want to play Killer Instinct, the original,
Wow.
I can do that
I
too.
haven't played that in a long.
See, that I can do. I can jump into that at any time.
Wasn't there a boxer in that?
Yes, TJ
Mm-hmm.
Combo.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
great game.
Yes. So okay, that's perfect, man. I love it. Dude, I really enjoyed all this. Like I love the ideas of what we want to do. Um, I think this is really kind of fun, man. We've said it before, but it's just this is really fun. Like I feel like we're kind of like getting to know each other all over again, you know, in such a way because we're so far away from each other. And this is a cool way for us to kind of like reminisce. And now we basically it took 2 episodes for us to challenge each other, and somebody's gonna get embarrassed. Perfect,
You know, dude,
perfect.
we should try to visit one another some.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the one that I'm the one that's like I have a little bit more flexibility. So it's like if you whenever you want to like whenever you have time, yeah, we can talk about that. Absolutely.
Cool, man.
I've never been up there. I've never been in that area, so I have no idea
I'll give you a heads up.
what
Kansas is
Kansas.
not too exciting. Like they don't have any cool things like in Arizona, you know, Grand Canyon. Like
Right,
nothing
right,
too exciting out here.
right.
But I think we can have fun. Still hang out and play games.
Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, I haven't seen your kid. I've only seen your oldest
Okay.
when he was just
They
born.
was like,
I don't think I haven't seen any of your other kids.
um,
So yeah,
goodness.
of course, man. That'd be fun.
Cool, man. Any final thoughts? I know there's to all the fans, all the one person listening to us. I think
Hey, man. At least there's one person. If we have one person, then
that'd be
we've done our
one
job.
person listening to this whole thing. Like that's awesome.
So what is Emed? What is your final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I suddenly got pumped up about beating him in Street Fighter.
Okay.
We talked about so many things. It's like an
Right.
hour and 26 minutes now. But
And that's all you took away from it.
I want to go to Steam and just see if I can find Street Fighter.
Yes.
Dude, I want to. Yeah, like that's what I'm thinking about right now. Like, but
Okay. You did understand what I told you about the story, right? Maybe you didn't understand it. I'm no longer welcome at that house because of this. Do you understand like how bad that
we're gonna
is?
have to just stop our podcast after. Maybe we shouldn't play Street Fighter then.
Oh no, I have no problem with it. If you can reduce the amount of times that you throw, then that's fine. I don't have a okay. My rule is my own. You could still do it. I'm not going to. Okay, so I'll let you go with this, but this is the point of it. If you were to like the way that I played with my brother, my cousin, some of my
Mhm.
friends when I was a kid. If you accidentally or threw the character on
Mhm.
accident, then you'd be like, "Oh, my bad, you throw me." Then my character would come up to you and I'd throw you because you did that.
You know what's weird? This sounds familiar for some reason.
It
Like,
it's there. It
wait,
was a rule. It was like an unwritten rule that I remember hearing. Like this didn't come out of nowhere, man. This actually came from like being at the arcades. Like when I was in Texas as a kid, that came from somewhere. So it wasn't something that we started doing on our
mhm.
own and this was our rule. This was something that was like a universal kind of thing. Yeah.
All right.
So that's what you took from that. But okay, you still want that challenge. That's
Yeah,
great. You want me never to come back again to Kansas and visit you again. That's fine.
yeah.
That's
You know,
fine.
if you're ready to do the next podcast, no,
No,
you want-
you're never coming over. You're never
you-
invited to this house.
no,
You curse way too much.
well, no, you won't let me fight.
Never again. This is a total mistake.
No, this is good. Final thoughts. Take Resident Evil. Stop listening. Right.
Okay.
Go
Okay.
pick first.
Okay. Be cautious. Be cautious and be aware of Borderlands 3. If you're not a fan, I would say rent it and try it. It's like $3 a night, so it's like it's a small cost to see if you like the game. That's what I would say. So okay, we're going to finish this up. We really appreciate all the people that have been listening and
Person.
really, or a person that's listening, whoever you are, please send us in the comments. And hey, you'll be our number one fan. That's perfect. We'll make a T-shirt for you
Mhm.
specifically, and you can have it, and nobody else is gonna know what it is, but we will.
We should.
How about something like that? I know. So we'll take it from there, and we'll have a little we'll have that other section of the podcast that we're talking about with um, doing a running commentary with The Last of Us. We'll have that a little bit more structured. All right. So now we've gotten to the end. I know that we kept talking, and now we actually talked longer. See, this is the problem with it, is that when we don't have it structured, we're going to keep talking over and over. So we did a little bit. We're going a little bit longer than we did before. So we need a structure because if not, we're going to be talking about 2 hours and we're only going to be talking about like one thing.
To test. We're doing it longer and longer every time, just to see who can
Yes.
stay and listen throughout the whole thing.
Oh, okay. So you're basically challenging the
Yeah,
audience, their patience.
we're gonna get a
Oh,
thumbs down from.
that's great, man. That's great. Our rating system is going to go all the way down to like what you get 1 star for even having
Yeah,
something. Yeah, great. Thanks, man. Send all of your comments to this guy that didn't listen to somebody saying that they're no longer invited to a house because of a video game. Yeah, you didn't listen to
I
me.
look forward to reading the comments.
Exactly.
Comment.
All right, y'all. Well, I appreciate everybody listening, to whoever is still listening, and send us some comments and send us some feedback on what it is that you guys like, and what games did you start playing as a kid, or what are you playing right now? Like, we really like to actually hear the community on like who's played what, because that's gonna broaden our horizons. There might be some games that we've never heard of that are really popular that we don't know that we'd like to try. What do you think?
Word.
Word. That
Yeah, that
perfect.
sounds good, man.
Okay. All right, y'all. Well, we're done for the day, and we will see you again on the next
Peace
one.
out.